Hello, I am the Greek Geek because I am Greek and I am indeed a geek. Earlier this week I went to go see an advanced screening of Into the Spider-Verse and I left the cinema with the biggest smile on my face. I had a great time watching this movie. It is, I would say, one of the best Spider-Man movies that I have seen. Miles Morales. Am I saying that right? I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. Miles is a teenager who is struggling to adjust to his new school, and he gets bitten by a radioactive spider, of course, and gains superpowers. And he ends up getting caught up in a plot to cross dimensions. Shameik Moore plays Miles, and he plays him very well. He does very good, very good voice acting, I thought. We also have Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy / Spider-Woman. Jake Johnson plays Peter B. Parker, who is a Spider-Man from another dimension, who is down his luck and looks like he's pretty much on his way out from being Spider-Man, like he's very close to giving up. And I really like his arc in this movie. He goes from having basically, by the looks of it, given up being Spider-Man, and then he starts teaching Miles, and he starts to gain love for it again, which was great to see. And for some reason there's fireworks going outside. Is there a holiday I wasn't aware of? So we have Liev Schreiber, who plays Kingpin in the movie. He is an okay villain, but his appearance was a bit too comical for me. A bit too over the top. He looks like one of those Vogons from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. His head is down where his chest should be, and it just looks a bit ridiculous. People in the cinema laughed when they first saw him on screen. There are other characters that you have in the movie as well from more obscure Spider-Man comics like Spider-Ham, Penny Parker, and Spider-Man Noir, who is voiced by Nicolas Cage, and that is never a bad thing. And who can forget Oscar Isaac as interesting person number one? That is a role that I'll remember until the day I die. The voice acting in this movie is fantastic. I could not think of one line that was badly delivered, except for maybe a few cheesy lines probably from one of the villains. But I expect they did that as more of a callback to older, more campy Spider-Man, the TV show in the 1960s or the comics. So for the theme, this is a Spider-Man movie, so the theme is going to be, say it with me now, with great power comes great responsibility, which has been the theme of every single Spider-Man movie. This movie also has a very comedic tone. There are different tones to different scenes, but front and center is the comedic tone. There are lots of jokes in this movie, and they're all really quite good. I laughed a lot, like pretty much all the way through the movie. It was really funny. I enjoyed it. Lots of interesting shots in the movie, just from Spider-Man, well, the Spider-Man and the Spider-Pig and Spider-Woman. The Spider-People, when they're swinging around the city, is a joy to look at. It all looks really good when they're all just swinging through the city. It's just really good. And even just scenes of Peter Parker and Miles just walking up and down walls, talking to each other. There's lots of interesting shots. This isn't a part of cinematography, but I just wanted to mention it because I wasn't sure where else to put it in my review, but there is a lot of product placement in this movie. And it's a Sony movie, so it's obvious product placement. There's Sony headphones, and everybody has a Sony, whatever the new Sony phone is. It's blatant and obvious, but you expect that from a Sony movie. This movie has its own unique style of animation. I think I saw it written, or there was a quote I heard somewhere that someone said that they wanted to make it look like as if it was taken straight out of a comic book, and in my opinion, they definitely got that animation style down packed. So the things that I liked in this movie, I loved all the characters. It had fantastic voice acting. I loved the animation style. It had a great story. It was really funny. It was really funny. I enjoyed it. And that end credit scene, I have not laughed like that in so long. The end credit scene itself is worth the price of admission, in my opinion. Things that I didn't like, there's only two things that I didn't really like. As I said before, Kingpin, his appearance was a bit too comical to me, and I couldn't really take him seriously as a villain at that point. And the second thing is very obvious product placement. it does annoy me, especially when it's very obvious, and Sony has no shame in doing product placement for their own products. So the verdict, this movie is...
perfection. I
thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It is definitely one of the best Spider-Man movies that I have seen, and I highly recommend that you go watch it. It is an absolute blast. Well, you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed my video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps me. It really helps my channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for watching me ramble about a movie for a few minutes. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time.